cockiness showing towards the very end. But it's GameLab, right? They are still going to be in a good mood after that. But people are taking it a bit seriously. You know, they've gotten a wake-up call. But you look at MAB side, I mean, Sunfrost is very happy with that game 1.
For sure. I mean
he's been watching GameLab.
He's been watching GameLab for a while now. But let's also keep in mind that, you know, for the team being able to beat GameLab on tournament stage as well, this is going to give them a very good opportunity to take that momentum and run away with it. So again, GameLab are trying to stop that momentum from even happening to kind of prove that, yeah, hey, first game was a fluke. Don't get overconfident just yet.
Yeah, and I think it's also one of those games where you look back at it and you're like, guys, we actually did 99% of things right? Actually, we don't need to change much in the draft. We don't need to change much in how we handle the early to mid game. And I would even argue, even towards the late game phase, because we had everything on lockdown, we just need to not make these, you know, uncharacteristic mistakes toward the very end. I mean, when Zeph called out Takenaga, he wasn't even going for the Lancelot. Takenaga just happened to dash in and block the dive. It was these small margins that costed them game 1.
It makes all the difference here. It makes all the difference. And I'm looking at their coach. He's already got his list. He's already got the hero list ready to go, getting ready for this overall draft here because they're looking for a win. They're looking for that reverse sweep. I don't know how their day has been going on so far, but hopefully it won't be more stressful.
I mean, they're playing the last series, right? So they had to wait quite a while to get to this point. And, you know, the night is not young, maybe for some of these guys, you know, for their age at least. But right now, I think you gotta stay focused. Don't let that exhaustion take over. For GameLab, they're used to fast games, and when you put them in a situation where they have to play a bit of a long stretch, that's where I think you can have a slight advantage over GameLab. But overall, I mean, GameLab, they're gonna start with the Kaja ban once more.
Yep, I don't think GameLab is really going to change their plans too much. If anything, they're probably going to start banning out the Fanny at some point of time because it's just really ridiculous to deal with the amount of split pushing it actually has. But then again, there are other options available. MLBB Esports is going to follow up their starter bans with the Wan too.
Yeah, so the same first bans coming up from both teams. GameLab, the Arlo was banned out by MAB in game 1, and GameLab actually went for, I believe, the Eve ban. And that was kind of a point of discussion, right? Aizawa loves that Eve a lot, and they decided to, you know, remove it from play. I wonder if that would be the same in game 2.
I would say that it's probably going to be the one that's not the same, right? I feel like that ban could be used for that Fanny, and if I'm in GameLab's position, it's not like Fanny was doing so much to the point where you can't do anything in the game, but it did enough to kind of get them by. Banning out the Eve once more, it looks like GameLab is just sticking to their guns, sticking to their game plan. Yeah,
we might even see a rerun of the draft, right? GameLab had a very, very offensive opening at like what, Lapu Lapu, Lancelot as their, you know, second and third pick, just absolute aggression. And maybe they did ban out the Farmers, I believe.
Yeah.
Farmers, I know the glue was banned out.
Yeah, the glue was eventually banned out from the side of GameLab. Yeah, they're the ones who banned it out. And maybe I'm pretty sure they're going to be following the exact same draft pattern until there is going to be some kind of adjustment. And I think even looking based on the face Coach Rain, he's going to be really thinking about like, okay, if this is going to be the exact same bans, right? Something in the picks must change.
Yeah, I think for GameLab, they probably would be looking at for a running back, right? In Blue ban out again. I don't think GameLab are pressured to change anything unless MAB Esports somehow switches out this last ban, but Joy is too valuable of a hero to kind of just give away.
Yeah, it's way too valuable, and I don't think it's worth giving it over to your opponents here. But let's see, MAB Esports, they might want to change things up for the final ban, or maybe their pick orders. We'll see in a little bit. 21 seconds left on the clock. Joy gets banned out.
So if it's the same as game 1, we would see the Valentina snatched by GameLab. It's one of the few Swiss Army knives. There you go, Aizawa gets Valentina again.
Okay, alright, same opener. And maybe, do they want to do the exact same thing? Do they want to start showing off like, hey, I'm gonna lock in the Fanny early this time? Or do they want to stick to game number 1's draft?
If they do lock in the Fanny, that means that they still have to make some minor adjustment just so Rancuti has a better start to the game, right? Because they had to suffer a lot to even get to that end point. It's
about the push, right? It's all about how much priority you actually have. And I think in the... I would imagine that MAB is probably going to be thinking about how to get more mid-priority, how to kind of make it even so that you don't have Aizawa rotating out of the lane like every single time the wave gets pushed out. But instead, oh, no Fanny this time. It's going to be the Lancelot as well as the Farsa.
So Fanny is a no-brainer. Instant snatch by GameLab. This time, they get the Kufra for themselves. So basically, both teams kind of swapping some of their picks.
Yeah, definitely different roles this time around. But the Kufra is just so good regardless because of the bouncing ball against the Lancelot. We'll see how this goes. MAB could still decide to think about tank shredders. They could go for like a blind carry pick if they really wanted to. I still think that the Claude was relatively good here regardless, because no matter what, he's able to get in and out of situations whenever he feels like it. But instead, maybe decide, because there is a Fanny, you want to have some kind of lockdown. All right, fair enough.
And also, you want to be able to bully out your lane, right? So, we start banning out one of the some of the more flexible marksman, right? Take out the Claude and whatever's left in the pool. If it's a carry, you guys bully it out very easily. If it's a Beatrix, then maybe we'll see a bit more of a push and pull. But at least MAB Esports, they're locking in those dominant lanes.
I think Yokizi is probably going to go Beatrix again this time round. I mean, he did it against the Farsa. It's not like it's not like he was getting hard punished by the Farsa every single time, but usually the hard divers is the one that kind of sets things up for MAB regardless. GameLab going to be banning out the Franco.
And kind of eliminating that the only other lockdown option. It does force MAB Esports to kind of consider what else they can go for as a roamer. I mean, you have the Atlas that's always in the back of their mind, but also there's the Grok. Not that it matters too much, right? Because GameLab, unless Havos go for the Grok, I mean, he does do that if GameLab actually wants to.
That's what I'm thinking about, right? Like, I feel like Grok pretty decent for the side of GameLab. MAB making sure that they get rid of some decent EXP options. They're going to get first pick, so my guess is that they're going to go for Lapu Lapu straight away, which is a little scary because let's keep in mind that when Valentina steals an ultimate, if there's a morph keyword in it, you basically get all of their abilities.
Yeah, and you don't want to counter Lapu Lapu, that's for sure. That is one of the nastier ones that Aizawa can get. But honestly, out of the ultimate so far, I think there's still a lot more value just getting the Feather Airstrike.
Oh, for sure. It's always going to be Feathered Airstrike, but in the few situations where you're stuck in that 2v2, it makes quite the difference instead. In the meantime, we will be seeing that first pick of the second phase here for MLBB Esports. They could show off the Lapu Lapu this time around, unless they have something else in mind for the EXP lane. This could be along the lines of Edith if they really want to. The Mincetar, I don't think there's enough dashes to really justify it just yet. Is there anything else? Grok has denial? Okay.
Yeah. So they do know about the Havos Grok. So you deny it away. That's when you get to protect the far side even more, right? And now you have your own counter engage. It does make Fanny's life not as easy as she wants it to.
Yep.
You get the Fredrin for her Voss, kind of the brick wall, and the carry goes through.
So the carry goes through. I think they pick Lolita here for the side of MLBB Esports, right? You're looking for someone that can block the auto attacks, is able to kind of set up a really big stun to disengage from the team. The Grok into the Fredrin, not the most ideal in the world, but at least you can kind of cut the waves. If you want to take it one step further, you can go for the Benedetta, but let's keep in mind that Kufra is still on the field.
And that is if MLB Esports are comfortable enough to put the Grok on Siska.
Exactly.
50 seconds left. Maybe ideally, I think the Lolita would be the best choice, but what if it's not a Lolita, right? Benedetta doesn't feel like she can move as freely as she wants to. We'll see. Sunfrost has made the decision. It's the Akai. So it will still be the Grok XP. I mean, if Akai roam, we haven't seen this for a long time.
Yeah, they want some kind of disengage mechanic, a way to allow them to create space. They're not looking for hard engages, right? MLB Esports, they have the option for hard engages, but the counter engages is so much stronger from GameLab that they can start thinking about multiple different avenues. Slow down the game, speed up the game if they want to. They need to have that level of control.
Yeah, especially when you have a Fredrin on the other end, while Grok Akai, Fredrin's life is going to be miserable in these fights. I would be surprised if you can land a proper Appraisal's Wrath.
Yeah, the Appraisal's Wrath is going to struggle a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, will it actually kill someone? I highly doubt it, especially with such a beefy lineup for the side of MAB Esports. Maybe if it's somebody squishier, it's understandable, and maybe we might see Detto die for the first time.
We witnessed it just now. You know, we witnessed the Fredrin slam. I still believe it. You know, like I was a bit heartbroken when they tuned on the numbers a bit, but after seeing those 1-2 shots, now I'm starting to believe again. Though the conditions for that to happen is a bit more strict. You have to take a lot more punishment, but it's doable.
Yep, it's necessary. I definitely think it's necessary. Now it's going to be GameLab on the blue side once again. MAB Esports on the red. Let's see how they play this out, especially the early game, because that's where GameLab got like a major lead in game number 1.
Yeah, Zeph actually went for scouting mission. Actually saw Takinaga, so that scared him just a little bit. But contrary to game 1, there is no any in-base early on. Both junglers doing the normal route. A bit of a scuffle down mid. Havos is going to be there, losing majority of his health on his Fredrin. Not the beefiest at level 2, but Takinaga is going to show up onto Zeph. This Akai taking heavy damage, knocked down first blood for GameLab.
Expected here, especially for Fanning players, to achieve first blood super soon. Does Takinaga? Yes, he does have that retribution. Came up just in time, hits level 4. Uh-oh. He should be able to get a kill here. No? Oh, ran out of energy. Yeah,
it's a bit late into the night, guys. Guys are tired.
Unfortunate.
I mean, if you have to operate that much cable and you're running and you're flying at top speed, you need some intense training. Uh-oh, the trap. Oh, I thought it was stolen. Thank goodness Saurus got that.
Yep, Saurus is still going to try and maintain his lead as the rest of the team is actually looking for an opportunity to kill Havas. He's going to take the early recall. He is calling for Takinaga to deal with the upcoming wave.
Yeah, he's not going to make the same mistake twice because he got ganked pretty ruthlessly. Oh, Takinaga though, I mean, he gets called up to the top side, instantly finds out that there are multiple members of MAB there. So Aizawa also shows up top. Meanwhile, both roamers are just duking it out mid-side. Hardy gets priority to rotate if he wants.
He wants to make sure that he gets ahead of the curve, right? After Grand QT, he's on top of this turtle and will be able to secure it unless the Fanny isn't finishing off the purple buff in time.
Yeah, and the turtle actually stolen away by Hardy of all people.
Oh,
where's the retry, man?
Yeah, that's a feels bad. It really is a feels bad.
Both junglers didn't press their retry. That's the worst part.
No, one jungler wasn't even there. Takinaga was like, I want my purple buff.
Well, I guess we don't need it, you know. And they just lost the Brody. It's a trade, 1-4-1. Zeph able to beat Hardy, but the GameLab got a better target. They got the Brody, and there's extra goal for you.
Yeah, no, this is great for UTC. He wants as much gold as he can possibly get here. Doesn't matter where it's from, as long as he has it in his pocket. MLBB Esports, it looks like they're going to lean very heavily down towards this bottom side, right? Because we're seeing that Lancelot, he could technically still head up for that full clear, but no. He sees the wave, sees nobody else is pushing it. Time to head back up top.
I mean, you see the Fredrin in the top lane. You're like, wow, I guess this lane is dead. We can't do much with the GLAB. Ideally, you want to get Saurus ahead, but I think they also need to pull extra members, right? Not ideal for MAB. I mean, Detto doesn't really want to be there. He's not, but he's gonna camp for this.
He's looking for the opportunity to get it done, right?
Look at Yuktizi. Look at this guy. He is so far back.
Oh, Ziska nearly died to the cutthroat there. Takinaga still. This could be a dive? No, he's gonna back out completely.
He is so far back. He just gave that wave away just so he doesn't die. I mean, the awareness from GameLab, unparalleled.
Yeah, I mean, they called it, right? As they moved up topside, they knew there were 2 people up there. Mid lane was basically missing, so 3 had to be somewhere on the map, and it sure wasn't topside.
Oh, definitely. They're like, well, no one is the top side. I mean, it's a ground to Fedrin. I think GameLab also knows that. That lane is not going to have any interaction.
Yeah, and it really isn't. And surprisingly enough, because of those early rotations, Havas has a level lead on Ziska, right? He's making it difficult. And look at the arrangement of the waves. I'm assuming that they've already kind of set up a potential freeze.
Hardy jumping in, getting engaged. Holding on to the ultimate, the Tyrant's Rage not used just yet, and now he's going to let it loose. Actually, still holding on to it. The patience. They even reset the turtle. Zeph falling back, Havos in front. Hardy, if he wants to re-engage, he definitely can. Let's go in with the flicker. Now unleashes the ultimate. He's gonna pin 2 members to the wall, lose his life. Takinaga doesn't have health. Turtle's still low, and that one's going to be taken away by MAB. Weird fight from GameLab.
Yeah, and they all just decide to back away here. Nicely done coming in from MAB Esports. They get the objective that they were looking to get, and more importantly, they walk away with 0 deaths.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, I expected Elo Hardy to just use that ult some point, right? But it was on the re-engage at the cost of a flicker, and Avos, he's gonna use his flicker as well. And
Dude,
actually,
Siska.
Siska just tanked a bit too much.
Siska, come on.
You can't do damage like that. You know what I mean?
He had his ultimate as well. He could have just wild charged to secure the kill and walked right on out of there. But no, he decided, you know what? I'm gonna try and auto attack this. The man greeted out and died for it.
It happens. I mean, her boss hanging on by a thread. But MLBB Esports, same thing, right? It's just unlike Euphoria, who are pressuring, you know, Aizawa a lot, they are really hammering into her boss.
Yep, they are making sure that he is not having a fun time here. But to be fair, I think GameLab are a lot more aware of the bottom side than they are on top side. They are making sure that Havas is pretty much self-sufficient.
Might be a counter-engage, but we're ready for time. Big counter-engage. In fact, the heavy spin from Zeph is there. A 3 for MAB.
Holy cow, what a wild charge coming in from Cisco. I don't know whether he knew that play was going to happen and that's why he didn't use his ultimate, or whether he was just greeting out. Either way, instant redemption.
I mean, greed somehow works. The series is a bit special. Your TZ cannot stay here anymore. And Havas, he's way too late to the party. He's going to be a recon drone. They're going to check in, multiple members. Havas should be able to get out of this. MAB getting a minor goal lead.
Very small goal lead here. It's 2 towers to 1 so far. And it looks like MAB Esports now have a little bit of a lead, right? The Rand QT will be able to get his purple buff, and that's more than he can ask for because it is now a level ahead of Takanaga.
Zeph again hiding in the bush. Siska on the other end. GameLab will get this turtle for free. Siska is toying with the possibilities. Ingana knocked into the wall. Wild charges out. He is safe.
Yep. Could use some wall charge there, but looking on towards that top side, we're already seeing that Brody having a chance to actually take down the tier 2 with a little bit of reinforcements. They see the purple buff is up and they've already chunked out Takanaga. Good time to steal it away.
And Rankuti instantly converts that into a purple buff. I mean, look at the levels, right? They're both junglers at the same level. Rankuti almost losing that one thanks to the orange buff. They got it. Heavy spin used. Havas flickers forward. Okay. No follow-up on that one. Bit of a disconnect from GameLab.
Yeah. Wow, that looked really, really weird. I thought it was about to connect, but it looks like it was just a little short here. Maybe 4 to 5 so far. GameLab actually having to play a hard game as MAB maintained this lead.
Yeah, MAB, I mean, this is definitely the opposite of what we expect, right? GameLab not playing as fast as they wanted to, not even with the Lancelot. I mean, MAB, 5-man strong. Havas, I'm not really sure how long you can stay there. Not when Deto still has that. Oh, they're gonna try. Elo Hardy flickers away instantly, and Havas sacrifice to MAB. The Tigers get it. Zeph flickers to safety himself. Your TZ can't continue.
Oh, good timing on that flicker there. That wild charge was about to, the stolen wild charge was about to connect to him from the side of Aizawa, and he would have died. But if you look at the gold leaderboard so far, despite the solo kill, Sarius now in the lead with Yuktizi and Takanaga just under him. It's still very neck and neck between all the members, of MAB Esports as well as GameLab. If we're looking at the item list so far, we do see the Lancelot already completing the Molten Essence as well as the War Axe.
Once Havas caught out, big fat ass strike. No one to stop it. And that's 2 kills for MAB. Just like that, Saurus gets a double.
Yep, the power spike is here, and now the neutral objectives will fall into their hands unless Takanaga, he's gonna try.
Oh, he has to do something, right? Is this
he's looking for
purple buff? Saurus forces Aizawa away. Here we go. Takanaga in the mist doesn't get it. RanQT sharper on the retry, and MAB now firmly in the driver's seat.
Unlucky. Unlucky indeed. MAB Esports will start shoving it out and start getting as much gold as they possibly can here. A lot of battle spells were utilized in the previous fight, but they will be available for the upcoming Lord push. 36 seconds? No, I think that's less than that. 32, 31, 30. There we go. That's 30, and that's 20, 19. Okay, so Ziska has a shorter cooldown right now in comparison to Zeph.
We'll be able to make even more, just continue to be active on this map, right? MAB, they're eating up the top side jungle. Bottom side also constricting very quickly. Takinaga wants to get rid of this orange buff before anyone comes through. Doesn't want to use the retribution, but had no choice. Had to use it. Spot tier 2 also will go down. MAB Esports, I mean, they can taste it.
Yep. Very close. They're very close already. If they've set up the right building blocks, and Takanaga is out of this game right now. There's just so much raw damage from the side of MAB Esports, and especially coming in from Ziska as well as Saurus. They take down the last tier 2s. They're looking for an inhibitor now.
Ziska stacked up the wake just enough. Zep instantly with the heavy spin, pushing the members of GameLab away. Aizawa steals it, and the ball's in within. Big taunt on the floor, but where's the damage? GameLab needs a lot more than just that engage. Takinaga cannot salvage this fight. MAB Esports just stand their ground and they find 3 kills.
Honestly, dead though, he was just standing there watching it all go down. It's like, oh, this looks like a good time to use my ult. He was so far away from the fight.
That was the best possible engage, right, from GameLab.
Yeah, like Deto, he saw the heavy spin being stolen and moving up towards. He instantly starts moving backwards. And as soon as he moves backwards, that Feather Airstrike absolutely blows up. Because even though you are stealing an ultimate from your opponent, you don't necessarily steal their stats.
This is starting to feel a bit hopeless if you are GameLab, because you got one of the biggest engage, but hey, it didn't really matter. MAB Esports, they just ate all of it up.
Yeah, the 5k goal lead, it's significant here, and even Ziska is going to be able to get a Malefic Roar, making it even harder for someone like Yutizi to walk up confidently, especially knowing that the wall charge is available. 2 out of 2 times, those wall charge has been effective. Damage leaderboard, oh man.
Ziska, I mean, this guy's at 3rd.
He's in 3rd place, he's above Aizawa, and it's just like, yes, my wall charges have been effective, but look at the blind attack!
Oh, if they can get him, this would be great. Ziska is the target. Takinaga stops Deto instantly. Some counterattack, some signs of life from GameLab.
Yup, GameLab, they are willing to check all the common spots. If it means a kill, it means they buy some extra time, which is great because in about 11 seconds or so, the Lord is going to spawn, and I think MAB Esports need to start sending people either to topside to clear it as quick as possible, or look to try and 4v5 this.
Hello Hardy even saw RanQT just by accident. Lord's going to be started up, MAB for big flank potentially. They're going to try and get the purple buff for Saurus first, so RanQT needs to hold on to this for as long as possible. Takinaga is going to be coming from base. No purple buff for him.
Oh, they could look to go for a backdoor.
They could.
They reveal the Brody. Somebody has to go and respond, and MAB is playing this push and pull with them.
Hello Hardy engaging onto Zev, pushing him back. Meanwhile, RanQT back on the Lord. Is stretching GameLab thin.
They don't have retribution in time.
They're going to give it away.
It's open. They're starting to move back.
Base?
Yeah, they're just going to take the Lord. They're just going to take the Lord and back up. Ooh. Oh, what a setup there from MAB.
Just absolutely stretching GameLab from top to bottom. I mean, the macro, right? The macro from MAB really showing through in that sequence alone.
Yeah, and this is only like a 5k, 6k goal lead, which is a very comfortable amount for a lot of professional teams out there. Very good showing by MAB here. GameLab, on the other hand, trying to find these opportunities to get on top of MAB so far, but MAB, their responses, their counter engages have been looking extremely clean.
Yeah, we say that, you know, you want to bring the fight to GameLab, and they have been punishing GameLab's aggression, right? You know that GameLab would take any single kill that they perceive as easy, and oh man, MAB from start until end in Game 2 have been just absolutely lethal.
Look, the clock is running thin here, right? I mean, the Lord has already started to push out, the Lord Empower minions. GameLab, hold strong enough. Don't lose a member here.
Oh, Zeph, he concealed through the top side. Heavy spin pushing GameLab away so they get the mid inhibitor. Her boss needs to tank out a lot of that damage. MAB just systematically dissecting GameLab. There's 2 lanes open now.
Two lanes open. It sounds like a good idea, but as long as they play the macro, game. Focus on just pulling GameLab apart, pulling them towards their crystal, and then starting the Lord all over again. MAB Esports need to replicate it once more because GameLab at this stage of the game are coming to a point where they can actually go toe to toe with MAB Esports once they hit the 42K mark. In about 83 seconds or so, GameLab should be able to make 2K somewhere unless MAB somehow give them free gold.
I mean, right now, we are at a state where both teams... Well, this is kind of the same state as Game 1, right? That goal differential, this time on MAB Esports side. A part of me wants to just see another comeback, so we have a comeback series. That's not for me to decide. GameLab, they have just 50 seconds to kind of manage these waves, to prepare for the next Lord. I mean, this one could be a game ender.
I think this is going to be a game ender no matter what, because again, GameLab is desperate to get the fight, to bring the fight back to them, and now we are seeing the 4th items from their core members being purchased, so they have more than enough damage now. MAB Esports, they need to start thinking situationally about the items that they need, because some of them aren't getting there just yet.
And MAB, they are managing the waves pretty well, right? That top wave is not going to make it past the neutral point. Okay, never mind.
Kind of passes the neutral point.
Dang it, MAB. Okay, never mind. It's cleared out. It's cleared out.
All right. They've cleaned it up already, forcing GameLab to actually send some members over there to start clearing up those waves. RanQT, he knows his job. He's like, I just got to sit on top of this Lord for as long as I can and make GameLab think that I'm not here.
We see Zeph. Boss is all alone on that bot side, so he needs to be that.
He's the thickest boy. He'll be fine.
He's the info pro. Now he has 2 lives, thankfully. Yeah, Moore's getting started out. RanQT just slowly but surely trying to whittle down the health. Takenaga using everything. The Thorn Apart Memories almost kills him off. Ilohardi now. That's the counter engage. Big knockout with the wild charge from Zeph and MAB. Pouncing back, Havos keeping that first life intact, but actually gets tagged by Saurus. And now Ilohardi misses the jump. Takenaga back in the fight, and he finds Saurus. That is what you want if you're a GameLab.
Oh, okay. They still get the Lord at the end of the day, which I think is going to be by far the most important part here. Does RanQT have... Yes, he does have Retribution. He shouldn't lose this. What's really sad is that Saurus wasted 2 auto attacks that could have been utilized better on enemy heroes rather than hitting the beetle. He was just auto attacking, looking for the nearest target, but he wasn't prioritizing who he was hitting. Target priority was going to be key there.
I mean, Takenaga surviving that whole ordeal, that itself was, I think, kind of the minor deal breaker. Well, this Lord is definitely not the game ender. We have 1 more to go.
I mean, it's really thick, but Yuktizi should be... Look at him chunk through that, right? True damage, 1.969 true damage every 4 hits.
Yuktizi is the Lord.
Yes, he is the Lord.
the true Lord.
He is the true Lord. In the meantime, top... Oh, the catch actually made it through!
Not now, RanQT. Not now. Puncture used, trying to dash away. Takenaga hot on his heels. RanQT burning. The steel cables miss. RanQT still running. Aizawa can't clip him in time. There's no way RanQT just got out of that, right?
He just got out of that.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable scenes for RanQT. Making out there with his life. Takenaga not happy with that outcome, but can't really follow up anymore. He's gonna go actually. RanQT again with the Thorn Rolls. This guy playing out of his damn mind. Takenaga cannot find him. Finally brings the immortality, but they need a bit more. Aizawa right in front, but RanQT just walks away. Saurus though getting caught. Uses the Winds of Nature. Blocks some bit of the damage. Needs to walk out of this. Aizawa right there. Finds the kill onto Saurus. Takenaga straight to the back. MAB losing Saurus for 40 seconds.
Don't disrespect them. Don't disrespect them. Saurus shouldn't have died there. He had his flicker also available, but he knew that Ilohardi was already on top of him with the bouncing ball, so he's just waiting to create just a little bit more distance here. And maybe Esports now, this is a repeat of game number 1. It has come to a stalemate. The gold lead does not matter.
RanQT at least gets that purple buff. This is the longest game we've had today. And it can go on for another minute at least. Another minute or 2.
Oh, we'll see it. We'll see about it. We'll see.
Lord is coming up in a minute. It'll take some time.
it's going to be a slow roll from here, but let's see how innovative they find. Hardy does get on top of Ziska, but he's not the main target. They don't break his immortality either, so they lose out 2 ultimates for 1. Not the best trade in the world, especially since 34 more seconds until the next Lord comes up. A tier 2 bottom side breaks.
Good news for MAB is that they still have 2 tier 2s, and those lanes happen to be the lane where GameLab have no inhibitors. I want to see if MAB, I mean, they gotta do the whole macro thing again, right? Just stretch GameLab thin. They've done it twice, but these team fights, they're getting very even. I mean, GameLab, they can literally burst the target 100-0 rank QT.
Oh.
No immortality this time. You're all gonna be that lucky. Again, using those iframes to gain distance.
Nicely done, nicely done. They got the conceal at the very least at the cost of basically nothing here. Ilo Hardy doesn't have his ult, Yuktzi neither has his ult as well, but they're trying to get this bait going. If Fanny tries to go for this all-in on Soros, she is going to get pinned to the wall.
Shove the top wave in. MAB Esports bought some breathing space. Could be a big flank coming right through. And there it is. They pin Aizawa into the wall and he is gone. The feather airstrike from Detto doing massive work. Ilo Hardy gets away. Takenaga into the mist, but watch out for Yuktzi. This guy could turn the whole franchise around. This guy is the Lord himself. Rank QT 100 to almost 0 actually survives, and that is good enough for MAB.
Beautifully done by MAB. They tried to go for the fake upon the fake, but instead GameLab get clipped against the wall. It was a very good idea coming in from Aizawa to steal the heavy spin. He tries to make the play, but again, just a little fast fingers from Rank QT manages to get them out of there just in the nick of time. The counter engages from the side of MAB Esports has been so on point.
I mean, Ziska almost killed Rank QT with that wall, right? And somehow he still made it out. Yuktzi at full power couldn't 100-0 this Lancelot. We are seeing something special here.
Oh yeah, we are definitely seeing something special here. They're calling for a pause straight away. Thank goodness. Hopefully they can blame it all on a tech issue.
Yeah.
Why'd you die? Tech issue, man. Like, you know, the internet was bad. Gotta throw that pause whenever they can. But man, this is a tight game.
If not for this tech issue, it would have killed Rank QT.
That was the big issue.
That was the biggest issue. Or maybe they're just making sure that the our Snapdragon chipset is working just as intended. You know, don't want to miss out all these minor frames. It's gonna be a tech pause called by GameLab side.
Oh, okay.
Wait and see what up. Well, it's some breathing space for them.
It's definitely going to be some breathing space. Making sure that they reset the mentality about this particular game, because it has been going on for like an uncomfortable amount of time so far. And MLBB, it looks like they're on the cusp of winning at the same time after that. But high ground defense here is going to be extremely important.
Yeah, they're looking at one of the not potential one. This is the biggest upset of the evening if MAD pulls it through, and they have what, half a minute to do so.
They got half a minute. And even after that half a minute, it means that we just have to wait another 3 minutes until the game might be decided at that point.
Yeah, half a minute of 3 members of GameLab not available, right? It's essentially a 5 versus 2.
Yup.
And there are 2 open lanes. You just gotta wait for the minion wave to crash.
Exactly. So I don't know how they're going to do this. Again, it's a lot about like pulling aggro away from the Lord and the Lord empowered minions to buy that extra little bit of seconds to get your team members back up and focus down on shutting down the Lord. But the Lord is strong. Like we're already past the 19-minute mark in this game, right? So the Lord is uncomfortably strong. It's luminous, it's enhanced, it can take a beating.
Yeah, it can take a maybe not from Yuktzi, but generally he can.
Everybody else but Yuktzi.
Everybody else but the carry.
Yeah. True damage still relevant. But I don't know. It's impressive to see how MAB has kind of definitely learned a couple of things from game number 1 and and picked up on a few bad habits from the side of GameLab.
And they're winning out just off of counter engages, right? We're seeing it started with counter engage. They were, I would even say, laying out the breadcrumbs. they trade 1 for 3. They repeated it a few times, and now they are actively finding those flanks. And they're also really they're creating all these pressure points onto GameLab, forcing them to respond, and then just punishing them for it.
Yep. And now I think they just muscle it from the mid lane, right?
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. I mean, they can try as hard as they can. They just want the mid lane and the side waves to crash at relatively the same time, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, Ren QT just got the Skygunner helmet. Takenaga coming back to life in time. Can they shred through this Lord? That is important. Takenaga taking care of the top wave. This Lord losing health very quickly thanks to Yuktzi. But he also has the minion whip that he needs to deal with. Better airstrike instantly use. Siska in the front. They're trying to burst down the members on the side of GameLab. Immortality from Siska goes down first. Lord still has some health to work with. Finally touches the crystal, but absolutely melted.
Missed synergy coming in from MAB Esports, and that's a little unfortunate. Zeph was trying to push the target towards the wall, unfortunately could not find it, decides to push them away from the crystal, but then it pushes them out of Deto's range. Let's look at the fight one more time here, because when we saw Zeph initially found the flank around, he hopped over to the wall to find this angle, but more importantly, he had to use his conceal to make sure the rest of the GameLab members weren't looking at the minimap in hopes that it would reveal their positions.
Yeah, and Saurus basically just two-tap Takenaga also, right? Like, I mean, if he gets his hands on this Fanny, it's a very, very dead Fanny.
Yep. But now the game drags on. 22 minutes already. Gold lead doesn't matter, but those 80 seconds are so very precious here. A single death could be the cost of the game.
Yeah, this is where death timers extend past 1 minute. Or at least close to that. And Lohardy is going to lead the charge. And maybe this time more aware. But Aizawa is holding on to the heavy spin.
Yeah.
The one that he didn't get to use previously. We go again. Another minute of just...
Another minute of this.
Just waiting for the Lord to spawn.
It's a cold war between these two, right?
It is.
They are just waiting for somebody to make that very first move. They're anticipating, they're posturing against each other. And once again, GameLab going to be calling the pause.
This is just what? Top 32. We're not even knees deep into that.
I mean, we say that it's like, oh, it's just the top 32. It's not that big of a deal. Those top 32 started off from dealing with 200 other teams. So I think, you know, in terms of statistics, I think it's not that bad.
That's true. It's just the open finals, by the way.
It's the open finals,
This is
man.
day 1.
This is day number 1, and they're making us work overtime here.
Yeah, I would call it day 2 because it's just past 12, but...
Are you serious?
Yeah,
oh my god, you're right. It is past 12.
we're in the day 1.5 of the Swiss round. I wonder what is going on with the other series, right? That is one I want to know.
Hasn't even ended yet? I don't know. Production will let us know accordingly if the other series are already done or some of the other qualified, winner bracket, winner pool,
The winner's pool.
Yeah, the winner's pool. That's the one. Oh boy, I really hope that this game doesn't get remade because they completely disconnected. I'd be so upset. It would hurt so much after everything that has happened in that game to start back at 0.
It will hurt MAB even more because they were one team fight away from a 2-0.
Devastating.
Devastating
Indeed. Hopefully, I don't know. I wish that Mobile Legends would adjust the Lord to make it a little bit faster here, or like scale up to be a little bit stronger, because it does feel generally weak against the marksman meta in general.
Here's a suggestion, right? Past 26 minutes,
Uh-huh.
right? Past 26 minutes, whoever gets the Lord just smashes right into the crystal and breaks it.
I think that's a little much.
Half the crystals help.
Half the crystals.
Okay, percentage of current crystal HP.
Percentage.
So he can't
So if
break
it was
the crystal.
2%, it would be down to 1.
Yeah, so he can't break the crystal. You have to still have a hero or a minion to do it, right? It's fair, you know, it's fair. Like, he's not breaking the crystal, he's just helping you get close to breaking the crystal.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I think it's a very fair way to adjust it.
I never really thought of that, but how about just TPing the Lord right into
he just he just charges down mid for the dramatic effect. You know, you just see this Lord just run all the way down mid, right into the crystal.
The game forces you into the POV of the Lord running down the lane as well. You have no choice but to watch.
It's like the boss fight.
The boss fight. All right, here we go. This is the critical moment here. Come on, GameLab. Come on, MAB Esports. One of you need to win this out right now, and this Lord is a make it or break it. This is a 69, very nice number, 1,000 health Lord.
And this Lord is thick. It's between Ilohardy and Rankuti for now. I mean, the rest of MLBB Esports are hidden. And it's good to see that Zeph is constantly sticking with Saurus.
Yeah.
Right? You always have this gang squad. Whoever Zeph pins to the wall just gets vaporized by Saurus.
Yeah, but nobody's really opening up the map, and that's why you're seeing the recalls come in from the Brody. They realize that the bottom wave isn't exactly in the position that it needs to be, and they've all... I don't know whether they've already spotted out the Fanny, but they probably had a good idea here. Oh,
I'm gonna go for Siska, trying to shred him with Yuktizzy, and here comes Zep, pinning Yuktizzy to the wall. Just barely, Yuktizzy repositions, and now Zep gets pinned by his own heavy spin. forced to flicker away, and now Takenaga shows up. Ilohardi is there. Her boss survives the damage output from Saurus, and they pop the immortality of the Akai.
Imagine nobody dying there. Like, not at all. I thought Havas was going to die at some point of time, and I was like, okay, he already lost his immortality way earlier into the game. I don't know if the cooldown has already finished it in time, but now MAB, they've corrected the waves. They've got a constant pushing bot side. They've got a wave build up on the bot side. Top side is naturally going to be pushing, and the same goes for the mid lane. So I think now MAB Esports can start posturing for a potential backdoor.
And they also saw Takenaga on the top side, right? That is a lot of valuable info.
They can actually go for the fight right now, right? Are they waiting for Zep's ult? Yeah, they are.
Zep doesn't have flicker this time, so
oh my god!
Oh, big catch, Ilohardi! Where's the follow-up? He's taking massive damage. Push all the way back. Her voice is trying to help. But Ilohardi goes down for the first time. Deto with the feather airstrike finds him for the second. Siska gets traded back thanks to Yutizi. And watch out this man, this carry. An absolute force of nature. Takenaga coming through. Good wisdom of nature by Saurus. Still ends up losing his immortality thanks to Aizawa. And now GameLab have control.
Oh no, oh no. Yuktizi is going to try and shred through this. But again, the waves need to be managed right now. Yuktizi not going to reveal himself just yet. Havasan as well as Aizawa making sure that they stick relatively close together. But MAB, they got to make sure not to make the same mistake.
Thankfully, it's the landslide. That could have been deadly. Top wave is going to be shoved out. Bottom wave as well. And maybe Esports trying to buy time. Another 35 seconds for Siska to come back.
Yeah, honestly, Zeph literally saved MAB Esports from losing this game with that heavy spin timing. If not, oh, Ilohardi would have collapsed 4 people against the wall, and that would have been game.
With TZ starting up on the Lord. Deto is watching this happen. Finally, the Lord is durable enough.
Yeah, it's durable enough. It actually looks like a regular Lord this time, even though I know for a fact that Yuktizi's true damage is ridiculous.
Deto is going to be dead. Lord down to half health.
Oh, this game's dangerous.
They let him steal it. Havas is trying his best. GameLab's going to let it reset. Too risky. Way too risky to do it.
Every time you see GameLab like, okay, we're going to finish this, right? And MAB Esports decide to show topside just dangling the back door, the keys to the back door, and GameLab is like, back off, we can't let him do it. We can't get backdoored like this.
Oh, RanQT is he's taking the reins. We're starting it off again.
No, he's gonna reset it, and then he's gonna go down to the bot side to clear that wave.
Yeah. The moment Brody shows up top, that's what they do.
Exactly, that's the thing! GameLab, there's nothing much they can really do. It's hard to rush down the Lord with your base this exposed.
And Takenaga needs to rejoin. Aizawa is pretty far away from the team though. It's just Havas in front. Only guy showing.
They don't know that.
They don't know that, yeah. Ilohardi is going to be on the other side.
Yep, Siska, he made sure to check the pixel brush. Somebody else is going to have to check the other brushes. As Havas is getting a lot of information. He sees Deto. He knows Siska is somewhere towards the mid lane brush. And now, this is where it gets dangerously low.
MAB letting the top wave push in, right? They're trying to manipulate this. Ilohardi, this is it. RanQT, the Lord also knocks out them just in time. What is this uncanny timing? Deto has used the feather airstrike, and here comes the potential flank. Zap pushes Aizawa away. The Lord needs to be rushed down right now. MAB Esports piling their full body weight onto it. Where's the retreat gonna come from? GameLab, are you gonna find it? It comes through for Takenaga, and GameLab, from the brink of absolute abyss, might have just found this game. Deto falls for the second time in the entire series. MAB Esports, 2 members down for more than a minute.
Oh, that was huge coming in from Aizawa, holding on to the heavy spin for the longest time, just so that when RanQT does not have his cooldowns, he can push him as far away as possible from that Lord and bought just enough time for the rest of the team to shut it out. Nicely done by GameLab. Oh!
Yeah, Ren knew that he had no other window. He had to press retreat, right? And that was just not it. Lord was a bit too tanky for that, and GameLab finally have an opportunity to knock at the doorstep of MAB, claim their first inhibitor turret in the mid side. MAB need another half a minute for those 2 dead members to come back to life, but the Lord, he's not going to wait. He's coming down from the bottom end. GameLab looking to claim a potential game tree, but MAB, we've seen them defend their base with their might, but can they do it with not enough members? Final push, Zeph is there, heavy spin use. Ilohardi pushed right into the fountain, but not enough. GameLab demands a game tree. We go the absolute absolute distance in this final series.
Oh, they recover well. They recovered really, really well in that very last fight. Ideally, they shouldn't have been able to give that lead over to MAB in the first place, but man, did they hold on for dear life. 2 exposed inhibitors, 3 lords falling into the hands of MAB, with the 4th one being the one that breaks the camel's back.
Hey man, we got 2 consecutive games where the team that is on the back foot with a barren base makes a comeback. What a treat for the final series of the day. And that means we're not done yet. We have 1 more to go. And these players, they gotta play the marathon this time.
What a it's just...